Afternoon. Today we get to have Faith here. She is going to be a speaker at our 2026 Women's Retreat in Lake June, Alaska, April 30th through May 3rd. And I cannot wait to introduce her to you and to talk about her subject today, finding hope and healing in the journey. So while she's getting ready to introduce herself, for those who've not been able to meet her yet, she's been at most of our retreats, her and her husband both. I'm going to go ahead and switch over only onto YouTube. So if you want to be live and watch us and ask questions, please jump over to our YouTube channel. Faith, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Faith Ingraham, and my husband and I co-founded Speaking Truth in Love Ministries in 2008. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. My dad was my abuser, and he was a pastor. And it was through that whole situation, I thought that I had had healing when I was no longer in that situation. When I had gone off to college and I was no longer under that roof. And I just figured, okay, that's my past, that's behind me. And I didn't realize that I had shut down emotionally. And so I didn't have a lot of what people would consider negative responses. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't addicted to substances. So I thought I was doing quite well, but I was basically just shut down. And until you start addressing and processing the trauma that you have gone through, you don't really start your healing journey.
Oh,
And I realized, it wasn't till 2006 that God used a new event that actually started my healing journey. And I think it's important for survivors to know that God can heal
yes.
these very difficult situations.
Oh, absolutely, he can. And I've seen that myself and very grateful. So I'm glad you're coming to speak on this. Can you tell us more about what we can expect in your session? What will it be about? Who is it for, too? I guess I should start there.
Well, I think it's for any woman or any person actually that is going through a healing journey. And I call it a journey because it is. It's not a one, it's not like, okay, I'm going to devote 2 months and I'm going to be healed. It's a process. And I believe that it's a continual process and that God works in you at the level that you're able to heal. There's some of us that have been through much harder, more difficult things. Some of us will need counselors and therapists to help us along on that healing journey, and friends and community. I do talk in there the importance of building community in your healing journey, because I think that's very important to have people to support you as you go through this healing process, and as you, even if as you walk and navigate finding safety and finding your path to healing. It's all of it. We're all on a different healing journey, but a lot of things are similar as we go through that healing journey. What that we need people to help, community. We need community. We need to know that God is with us and that God cares about us and that what happened to us doesn't define us.
Yes. I love what you just said. What happened to us doesn't define us. And I really love how you're highlighting community. I have the privilege of writing the scholarship stories and putting them all together and reading quotes of women that have been scholarshiped. And I read the stories, and it's like the highlight of my whole job is hearing these women say, I showed up knowing no one and prayed for a friend, and God sent a woman. Like it just hearing they couldn't heal alone in isolation. For the first time, I sat with a woman and started to grieve and told my story for the first time. It felt didn't feel judged, didn't feel shamed, and that's what I love so much. And these women couldn't afford to go because so many of them been through so much abuse. So I do want to make a quick thing and say, hey, right now we're in a scholarship campaign. We're trying to raise $65,000 to scholarship 100 women to our He Makes All Things New Women's Retreat. Costs $650 per woman. You can contribute any amount towards that to scholarship a woman, and we're at 25,000. So we need you to partner with us. So I encourage people to do that because community is so important. I'm really glad you mentioned that because we do not heal in isolation. I need somebody to look at me in the face and tell me that it's going to be okay and that God is with me and to love me and hear my story. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's really important.
And as you just brought out, sharing your story is the first step to healing. It gets it out there and it helps you process this is what happened, and this is what I lost, and this is what I need. And I think, especially at the retreat, there is that opportunity for women to connect with other women with similar stories that can understand where they are and where they've been and can walk through them with them through this. And a lot of times, because of what we've been through, we have lost trust,
Mhm.
and we have a hard time finding people that we can trust to walk alongside us with that in our healing journey, because we don't know who we can trust anymore.
Yes. Yes, and finding that safe person that understands and sensing that safety is really important, so I'm really glad you said that, and, I'm wondering too, I wanna hear a little bit more about your session. Can you share maybe some of the highlights of things that you'll be sharing during your time with the women?
Well, I'll share my healing journey and some of the highlights um, that that God used in my life to heal me. And I still say it's a healing process. I'm still healing,
Mm.
God, but it's amazing how you go from here clear over to here, and how you can look back and say, "Oh wow, God was in this." And even some things that happened even in my childhood that I can look at back now and say, hey, God was there and he used this to keep me from doing that. Just things like that. And also we'll look at some scripture passages that talk about how much God loves us and how he is with us and how much he does care about what we're going through, and that he is not, that abuse is not from God, and it's not what he planned for us, but he can still bring good out of bad things. And so those are the main highlights that I will bring out, so that we can, and then the importance of community in our healing journey and how to find community and different things.
Yes. Wow, I love that. I'm so excited, like, I'm so excited that you'll be there, and I think this will be really helpful for a woman watching today that probably also has been through childhood sexual abuse. I mean, I think it's good for any woman, not saying that, but I know sometimes when you show up in childhood sexual abuse, it adds an extra layer to healing from domestic violence. It really does when you've already got that there and you're just like, "God, like, this hurts." Like, you've been through childhood abuse and then you go through it in your marriage and it just you don't know what's up and what's down, and so I'm really excited that you're there to be able to speak to women, and we know that that's extremely common too. A lot of women that endure childhood abuse end up in abusive marriages because it feels so familiar. It feels so
Right.
normal, and you have a hard time understanding that you're not worthy of abuse and that this isn't normal. So yeah, I'm really happy that you'll be there speaking on that. What do you hope the women walk away with when they come to your session?
Well, I think that I would like that they would walk away with hope that there is, God can heal me. God can bring good out of the things I've endured. There are women, there are others that have gone through this healing journey. There are people that have been where I am, like if they're still in abusive relationships and they're trying to get out, I want to offer them hope that God will be with them as they process, you know, their safety plans, their different things that they need to put together. I just want to offer hope in the knowledge that God does care and God will be with them through this situation.
Wow, thank you so much for saying that. I feel it when you say that, especially when you've been through really hard and deep things. You know when somebody's speaking those words and those truth, they just go right to your soul because you're just like, okay, this person isn't speaking this because they've had a great life and know all the theology. It's no, I've seen the goodness of God, and let me tell you about it, and it just ministers to the soul. So
Mhm.
thank you. So if there's a woman sitting here today that's watching this and she feels completely hopeless, what would you say to her? Like she feels like, gosh, my heart's broken. Like, can it really ever be normal again? Will I ever feel joy?
Right, right. And I think about, the Bible tells us that God cares deeply about us and what we're going through. And he talks about, a sparrow doesn't fall to the ground without his knowledge, and we are much more valuable than a sparrow. And he knows the number of hairs on our head, which is interesting because that can change minute to minute. It's not our fingerprints, which we received in our womb that grow bigger as our hands grow, but our the hairs on our head change. When we brush our hair, we lose some hair, and when we shampoo or whatever. And so he knows moment to moment what we're going through, and he is with us during those times, even when we don't think that he cares. He does. He cares so deeply about us, and we are valuable to him, and he wants what's best for us.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Like that was, I never thought of that. Like, wow, God knows the hairs on our head. That means he knows every minute detail about us right now, everything. I never thought of it shifting and changing. Just God could pick up anything that he wanted to say about us. Like, I know your fingerprint, but wow, I know the hairs on your head and that's shifting and changing. Yeah, because I just brushed my hair and I lost a few pieces, but God knows how many is still there. So that is encouraging. I really thank you for saying that. So, is there anything else you wanted to add before we close out here today, or anything I missed?
No, I just want anybody that's listening to know that God does love them and God does care for them, and he will be there for you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. And for those who are listening, I've dropped a link in the comments. If you go to calltopeace.org, you can find a link to donate to our scholarship campaign. Please partner with us in that to send a woman to this retreat that otherwise wouldn't be able to come. And so we talked a little bit about that in here. So I would highly encourage that to bring women to a place of community and healing, be part of her healing, no matter the small amount that you feel you give. One woman said that small amount could be something that really changed the trajectory of her healing journey. So thank you for those who partner with us. And thank you, Faith, for being here today. I cannot wait to see you where you can register for the retreat, y'all. Go ahead and register soon. Actually, we're very little in person campus rooms left. So we're expecting to sell out on campus. So there will be off campus options available. So if you're wanting to come to this retreat, go ahead and sign up. Do not delay. We will sell out of in campus on campus housing. So we won't sell out tickets, but we're encouraging you to go ahead and book it and come join us. We'd love to have you there and to meet Faith and many of our other speakers. So thank you again, Faith, for joining us in your time, and we'll see you
Thank
soon.